topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Morning, New York. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show, where for the last 16 years we have brought you the top experts in their field in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. I got to tell you, our first show this morning is a brand new show. You requested a personal injury show. And like I told you before, we read every one of your emails, your texts, and we finally had an opening in our New York area and our New Jersey area. We found one of the top personal injury firms in the whole eastern coast of the United States. The firm is called the Licatesi Law Group. And I'm going to share this I'm going to bring Michael on right now. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning. How are you? Thanks for the wonderful introduction.
Michael?
I'm here.
Okay. So I got to share this with you. We received so many emails after your shows, people thanking us, first of all, because there's so much to learn about personal injury law. But the greatest thing I saw was people go, how come the show is so short? Listen, when people think the show is too short, you know you got a winner. And I want to tell you, we are so lucky to have your firm, Michael. So good morning to you, and let's tell people about your firm.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the wonderful introduction, and it's a pleasure to be here. Our firm was founded by my father, actually, about 40 years ago. And, I followed his footsteps, and I saw his ability to change people's lives. And, it really impacted me from a young age to help within the community, to do as much as I can to help those around me. I started my career in a clinic helping abused and neglected children. And after that, I joined my father, and we were able to help much more people from our platform. And I started off trying as many cases as possible. And after I tried enough cases, I wanted to continue to spread the positive word of what we're doing for those particular clients. And now I'm taking a more aggressive approach into telling our story and telling the story of our clients.
So, Michael, everybody, when you think personal injury, you think auto accidents, slip and falls, but there are so many other injury areas you cover.
Yeah, no, we do just about anything. So when you think of personal injury, think negligence, right? And if somebody's negligent, there's typically a way to establish a case as long as you can prove damages. So there's two aspects of a case: liability and damages. If somebody's negligent and they cause harm to you, that will help prove the liability portion, but you still have to prove damages. And damages are proven by your injuries. They could be financial, they could be physical. So the practice areas that we cover are anything from a simple motor vehicle accident to complex medical malpractice, infectious disease cases. We've taken cases, I believe I mentioned on the last show, against some of the largest companies out there. We have 10 trial attorneys here and a staff of almost 50. So we have the ability to fight those larger companies, especially with the resources and our advanced technology that we use. We don't shy away from any case that there is. So most of our medical malpractice cases are against large institutional defendants. So if there is any negligence, whether it's in a medical malpractice case, a personal injury, trip and fall, auto accident, or even a nursing home case, and some of those cases are the ones that I really enjoy taking, as we spoke about last time too, because there to me is no I don't have any sympathy for a defendant that takes advantage of the elderly. And we've seen the worst of the worst. We've seen them physically abused. We've seen them neglected, bed sores. And I believe I told a quick anecdote last time where, I had a war veteran and he was shot, and he said the bed sores that he felt were more painful than getting shot. So, when you deal with these every day, you understand how much accountability matters. And there's one thing I do want to preface today with, before your next question, is sometimes there's a stigma around personal injury attorneys, and nobody likes to be sued. But at the end of the day, my firm doesn't sue people individually, personally, for the most part, right? We don't go after personal assets unless rare circumstances. So typically we're going after insurance coverage. So insurance coverage is provided, obviously, for these types of scenarios. If personal injury attorneys weren't there to represent the little guy, then there wouldn't be any accountability. And we spoke about this briefly, but I believe it's really important that there are pharmaceutical products that they roll out when they know that it's going to cause harm to people. There are products that, for example, Procter & Gamble, huge companies, are mass producing that they know causes cancer. So if there weren't personal injury attorneys to level the playing field, to establish that accountability, people would be dying, people would get cancer, people would be negatively affected, children, mothers, no matter what. These companies are ruthless and they only care about their bottom line. So I believe that we serve a really important purpose in pushing back and protecting people, and that's what we have a license to do. So there's a stereotype against every industry, and there's bad actors and there's good actors, and you have to find the right attorney that you trust, that's going to help push the defendant and the carrier on your behalf. And that's really what it comes down to. You have to find that attorney, interview that attorney when you have that level of comfort, trust that they're going to deliver for you. And that's really the only thing you can do.
We just got our first text. This is from Ron in Queens. Hey, I'm really enjoying that you now have a personal injury attorney. My question is to your expert. Does your firm handle mesothelioma cases?
That's something that we particularly don't specialize in. And, we do have some attorneys that we have referred those cases to or worked with in the past. So he can reach out to our team, and our intake department will help put him with somebody that can help him.
This is from Greg in Brooklyn. If I'm in an auto accident, I'm unsure. Do I contact an attorney first? Or if I think I've been hurt, do I contact a chiropractor first?
It's a very good question. My recommendation is always speak to your attorney first, to help guide you in preserving that evidence, right? So there's two scenarios, and it's very fact specific. So if you're in an accident and you're able to stabilize yourself, and you're at the particular scene and you're calling the police and you're preserving evidence, at that moment, it doesn't hurt to call an attorney. But if you're in excruciating pain, you need to get to the hospital, then you go and you call your attorney as soon as you can, or you have a family member call your attorney. And we spoke about this a little bit last time, where I had a particular client that was traveling straight after making a turn, but the turn was about 30 seconds before. And he was rear-ended. He told the insurance company that he was rear-ended after making a left-hand turn. So a left-hand turn creates a presumption that you're at fault for an accident. So the reason why you contact an attorney is because I would tell the client to tell the insurance company that he was simply rear-ended. There's a huge difference by mentioning you made a left-hand turn or you were rear-ended. It creates two completely different presumptions. Left turn, presumption you're at fault. Rear-ended, presumption that they're at fault. So, oftentimes, if you have a responsive law office and they give you those quick answers, it's really important to reach them. If you're calling a firm when you're on hold and you can't get in touch with somebody and they're not helping you, that's not the right firm. If you're calling us from an accident scene, we'll guide you right away. So that's really the way that it should be, because it's extremely important. At that accident scene, you got to take photos, you have to take videos, you have to get their insurance information. There's a lot that happens at an accident scene that if it's not preserved, you may lose it forever.
This is from Ronald on Long Island. Wants to know, he said, I work in the city. I know there's cameras everywhere put up by the city. Are you allowed to use those cameras if an auto accident happens?
It's a great question. So each camera typically will have an associated number on them. So you would file something called a FOIL request, where there's free information provided to individuals if you file that request with them, and you just need to notate that particular number and send it into the correct department. If you file it correctly, you get the right number from that particular camera, you send it to the right department, you can get access to that video footage. You have to be very specific and include the particular date and the time. So preserving your initial evidence is so important that when you make those requests, but it takes a very long time to get that video footage back. Could take 6 months, could take 12 months, could take potentially longer. So sometimes there's an appeal process to make sure that you actually get that video footage. So the short answer is yes. The long answer is, you have to push them, and there's a little bit of a strategy to get it.
We're getting a lot of text in. This is Bill in Queens. Thank you so much for bringing a show like this. It's really needed. I am in the construction business. There's always somebody getting hurt. Does a person who gets hurt on a construction site need a personal injury attorney or a workers' comp attorney?
Another good question. So that answer could take a long time. So I'm going to try to simplify it. When you're hurt on the job, you cannot sue your employer. You cannot sue your employer. You have to hire a workers' compensation attorney. A workers' compensation attorney will help do two main things. If you miss time from work, they'll help file a claim to provide you with financial payments, indemnity, and then they will also help make sure that your medical treatment is covered by workers' compensation. That's step one. If there is another person responsible, whether it's another electrician on the job, whether it's the property owner, if there's another entity responsible for your injuries, then you can sue that individual. That's really what the short answer is.
So, Michael, there's so many people wanting to know about auto accident injuries. I'm trying to
keep up with your questions and answering these quickly.
Yeah, you're doing great. No, you're doing fine. Take as long as you need. This is from Val in Brooklyn. Does it seem like there's more auto accidents than ever before? I think it's because, and this is not a political show, trust me, I'm just reading your text. I think it's a lot of people don't understand the signs. But my question is, if I'm in an auto accident and I don't think I'm injured, should I still contact an attorney?
Well, there's two different auto accident attorneys. Some of them will deal with property damage. So if you need somebody for property damage, they can help you. But again, the short answer to that, because I think we're doing some rapid fire right now, is you can file a property damage claim on your own. All you have to do is coordinate with the insurance company, with the body shop, and in the inspector. And when you do all of that, there's no reason to pay a third or a fee to an attorney to help you with that. Insurance companies are very difficult to deal with, but it's worth the phone calls instead of paying an attorney for property damage. When it comes to an auto accident, if you're not injured, that you can't prove a personal injury case. So injuries sometimes creep up with time. So my recommendation, if it was a family member or loved one, I would have them go to an urgent care just to get checked out and to make sure that they're okay. And if their injuries get worse, at least they documented and they were evaluated to see if there are injuries. There may be adrenaline and there may be spasms and other injuries that you don't feel because there's adrenaline and you're scared, that an urgent care may be able to evaluate. But if you don't get treatment, then you may not have a case if your injuries get worse. So there is a personal decision there that you have to make.
Next text is from Kimmy. She wants to know, I like the way you explain things. I was in an auto accident and had a PI attorney in Florida, and it was the best step I ever did. Why do PI attorneys get such bad raps?
I think that the bad reputation comes from the only thing we could do as personal injury attorneys is provide financial compensation to help our clients through pain and suffering, cover their medical benefits. That's what the law is designed to do. I cannot medically treat somebody and help them get better. So I believe that there's a stigma against personal injury attorneys because our resources revolve around providing financial compensation. And at the end of the day, the individuals that may speak poorly about personal injury attorneys, I believe you have to look at the individual. Look at who is the person that's making that statement. Typically, you can then find out why they're doing so, because you can't wrap everybody into something. You have to look at that individual attorney, and you have to look at the person that's saying it.
Yeah, Michael, I think it's so great what your firm offers. I want you to tell people, there's so many people who think they can just go up against these big insurance companies and handle it themselves, thinking maybe they can save themselves some money. Tell people why it is so important that if you're injured, whether it's a slip and fall or an auto accident or whatever, why it's important to have great representation.
Yeah. So, people in general try to figure out ways to cut costs, right? You can't cut costs when it comes to law. You can't cut costs when it comes to your health. My grandfather, was an immigrant from Italy. And when he came here, barely spoke English until the day he passed. And he always said, you don't cheap out on two things. It's your health, with doctors, and it's, with a good lawyer. And there are lawyers that commit malpractice themselves. So if somebody that's trained and actually practicing in the field can't perform or isn't skilled enough to do their job, it's impossible for a layperson to think that they'll be able to navigate the legal system. There are so many intricacies and difficulties every single day and decisions that we have to make to put our clients in the best position. It is completely impossible. There's 0, in my opinion, % chance that you could go through the litigation process on your own, Can you settle a case? Yeah, you could settle a case, but they'll know, and they'll settle for less than what the case is absolutely worth. I think everybody deep down knows that. I think anybody that tries to settle a case on their own knows that they're going to get taken advantage of by the insurance companies. And the number one reason why we don't get taken advantage of, or the real top tier firms don't get taken advantage of, is because they have to be feared, right? The law firm has to be feared. They know an individual cannot go to trial against them. They know they can't take a verdict and force them to pay them. So there's no reason for them to give you top dollar. But if you sign with a law firm that has beaten them time and time again and taken them to trial when they don't offer the right amount of money, they have to. We had a trial in Suffolk County maybe 6 months ago or so, and the insurance company was only offering $50,000, and we got over $1 million verdict on that particular case. And what I'm trying to prove on that one is that case to me wasn't about that one particular verdict. Although it's very rewarding for me to help that individual, it's to help the next 1,000 clients, because that insurance company needs to know, if they don't pay us the $1 million that we're demanding, we're going to make you pay anyways. The individuals don't have that power, or the attorneys that aren't trial attorneys don't have that power. And the only way you get it is by being in the trenches, by having the battle scars, by being in court every single day. We're in almost every court in New York, like south of Westchester and through the boroughs and into Long Island, every single week. The judges know who we are. The court officers know who we are. The carriers and the defendants know who we are. And that's the type of pressure that you need. If you have a firm that's not well known, that doesn't have trial verdicts, that isn't going to push the envelope, then you're hiring the wrong attorney. It's really what it comes down to.
Michael, how do people reach your office?
So the best way to reach us is call our office line, 516-226-2662. And you can also text us at 516-725-2552, 516-725-2552. You can also go to our website, licatesilawgroup.com. Licatesi is how you spell the last name. You could Google me, Michael Licatesi, and look us up that way.
Michael, great job answering questions. I know I can tell by the text that people really enjoy how you respond. Michael's with us every month, twice a month. Actually, we also do a New Jersey show. Michael, thank you so much, and we'll see you next month.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
Thank you. We're going to go to a quick break. We'll be right back.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.